Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello and welcome to the Liquidity Event. This is your host Shane Mason.
And I'm AJ Ayers,
and
first of her kind Dragon Slayer.
Yes, we're going to get to this. I've got so many questions about dragons today. And this is episode 171 being recorded on January 7th, 2026. I nailed it. Off to a great start. Did not goof the year in the first episode of the year. It will be airing on January 8th.
So far, so good.
2020. That will not last very long. And you can email us your finance questions at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com, or we'll just go to Reddit, or we'll just make up some questions, and we will make them live, answer them live on the air for our dear listeners. AJ, let's talk about dragons. Speaking of dragons,
what do you want to know about dragons? Speaking of dragons.
Okay, so right before we started recording, go ahead. How was it?
No, my New Year's Eve was totally fine. The only dragon I slayed was a giant skinny girl margarita at El Mirasol with some friends.
Oh, I saw that. Was that with Justin, with JR?
Yes, JR and his wonderful husband and our dear mutual friend Mariana and my husband and I smashed some really disgusting, frankly, margaritas because we wanted to avoid the triple sec and ended up with a bucket of tequila. But, you know, we went to bed at New York midnight in California, so we watched the ball drop at 9 and we're asleep by 9:30. A fabulous New Year's was had by all. How about you?
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, even a poorly made margarita, better than nothing, eh?
I mean, this was just straight cheap tequila in a goblet with some lime juice. It was pretty rough. Okay.
All right. You were at like a Tex-Mex place in Palm Springs? Yeah. Sorry. My question about dragons is we were talking to our producer just prior to the episode starting, and apparently there's two different series of books out for our book talkers, our readers of the podcast, that listen to the podcast, and I am confused about the differences between two different series that are currently quite popular. There is, on the reading list, every reading list for 2025, there's Rebecca Yarros. Is she Greek?
Yeah.
Is she? Okay.
I believe she's American Christian, vibes from the heartland.
Okay, cool. And okay, so that's a clue about what's going on within those books. It sounds like a bit of a C.S. Lewis situation happening there. And then there is a different series that all the girlies are actually talking about, which is
so Rebecca Yarros, that series is called Fourth Wing, and that is about a school. It's kind of like Harry Potter with like a little like military aspect and dragons. And obviously lots of sex. So this whole genre that we're talking about is Romantasy. So it's very sexy. There's
sex in both of them.
Both tons of sex, every
okay.
chapter.
I thought one was the dragon one, and then the other one was the sex one. So
anything that's popular right now that has the colorful cover is sex. Just so all men are clear. That's what it is. It's just sex and dragons and fairies. And it's idealized. It's idealized men with wings and, super strong. Yeah, it's...
They've got huge tracts of land.
Exactly. Yes, they have, they're very well endowed, etc. So that's Fourth Wing. And then the other series you're referencing, the first book is called A Court of Thorn and Roses, which is, I think there's 7 books in the series. That's been around, both series have been around for a hot minute, but Court of Thorns has been around, I think, for a couple of years, but really exploded in popularity, like, end of 2024, I would say. But yeah, you cannot get on an airplane right now without seeing someone reading a book from that series. Have you ever dabbled in Romantasy?
I watch porn, so no, I have not dabbled. I'm just kidding, dear reader. But you know what I have seen in every airport, because you and I just traveled a lot I'm sorry, I did make you laugh. I didn't think of the porn was going to make you laugh, but we're both 8 years old deep down. So you don't like AI either, which is going to be...
I'm just imagining some new friends I've made listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Anyway,
this is an adult podcast.
Partner, everyone, Shane Mason.
Yeah, this is rated R. Everybody knows this. This is for adults. We're almost up. I'll be 40 before you. We travel a lot, and we're going to get to the articles here in a bit, I promise you. We have 5 great articles this week. But I saw a million guys in their mid-20s to I'll say late 30s, using AI coding agents all around the country. I've been traveling a ton, you and I both. I flew Houston, Mexico City, Italy. There was some stopovers other places, and everyone's got Cursor open, I've seen, or at least maybe because I use Cursor. I've just been noticing guys in the Delta Lounge just ripping out vibe codes, like coding stuff up. You and I are going to be at AICPA's conference in San Diego in a couple weeks, where I'm going to be talking about AI, so I'm going to be talking about Cursor a lot. You're talking about equity comp, correct? On Wednesday, I believe. Cool.
Yes.
And so
Speaking of sex, my presentation on equity compensation is called Beyond the Golden Handcuffs, which is not the title to my Romantasy novel. In fact, it is my presentation about ISOs, RSUs, and NQOs. So
nice.
Stand by. There'll be some spiciness.
You should sprinkle in, if you haven't yet. I don't know if you're joking or not. I feel like this is a pretty. Crowd is a little bit more mature. Yeah, at this conference.
I'm not joking. It's subtle, but it's there.
By the way, I'm competing. Now the sessions at AICPA, there's 3 times as many people now. Instead of just 100, there's 300. And we have competing sessions. And mine is against the #1 IRA guy in the country, Robert Keebler, which I'm a little upset about. Do you know who you're competing against? Yeah. That was a bummer.
I was looking at this. You were like, mine's Wednesday morning. I was like, no, mine's Wednesday morning. And I was like, oh, Keebler's sick. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Okay, so on this week's episode of the Liquidity Event, we do have 5 great articles. One of them is going to be about California residents' ability to demand brokers delete their personal data from TechCrunch. Shout out to California for leading the way on that legislation. We got the winners and losers from 2026's mix of tax and benefit cuts, the Trump administration's first big push into our pocketbooks. We have all cash deals are dominating Manhattan's real estate market from the Wall Street Journal. Should it be easier to buy annuities and a retirement plan, an opinion piece from the Wall Street Journal? And finally, we've got some fun science stuff in the space of nuclear energy. Is it, will the South rise again? Will the nuclear energy rise again, AJ? I'm sorry, a Freudian slip from your Mississippi business partner there. Finally, if we have time, we will get to a Redditor question about the newly rich. Why don't we start off with this California resident article from TechCrunch, because I think this will cascade hopefully into other states if it doesn't get picked up at a federal level. To give you a preview of the article, essentially California's had it up to here with spam calls, spam emails, etc., and with data brokers. And for listeners that don't know what a data broker is, actually, AJ, I'm the host this week. I'm going to introduce this article. You get us into what a data broker is and tell us what you think about this article this week.
Yeah, so data brokers, they have all your information, right? Trying to protect yourself in 2026, trying to keep your information private is, it's too late. Sorry, folks. So data brokers basically have these massive sets of data that they sell to people who are interested in selling you things. And sometimes those things are totally non-malicious, like they want to list your house if they're a real estate agent. That's what this article is about. It's realtors who are basically getting lists. They're buying these giant lists of anyone who's bought their house recently, or maybe they're pulling, hey, who's got a 100% gain in their house? How has their housing price skyrocketed? So they're calling you, they're sending you pamphlets, they're knocking on your door. Some guy knocked on my door in Palm Springs, which was very unsettling. I really did not like that. So I am very pro this law, which is basically one teeny little drop in the bucket to say, stop selling our information. Please do not call. Please put me on your do not call list. Please remove me from your mailing list. Delete my number, kind of thing. I think this is great. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, but any legislation that protects us from spam calls, I am pro. I actually need to send you my new phone number because I had to throw my cell phone in the toilet because of the number of sales calls that I was getting last week. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I want to say that it would be that easy, right? I hear you on that. I get a ton of calls, even after signing up for T-Mobile's Do Not Call list, which was supposed to work. the real giveaway is when you create a new company and like a new Google workspace, like when we created our Gemify workspace and we have those Gemify emails, and within a week of setting it up, you're getting spam emails from people, and you're just like, what? How is this possible? I'm not anywhere on the internet yet. You didn't list it on the website. I don't know how this is.
It's
working.
literally I mean, it's the Delaware corporation. Like, it's literally, that's data brokers. They just scrape data. So if you create a company, they can piece it together, and in 5 seconds, that's what all those dudes vibe coding are doing. They're figuring out ways, to piece information together and pinpoint who Shane Mason is. Shane Mason is the CEO of these companies, and he spent a bunch of money on these tech pieces, so he should probably spend money on ours. I mean, my email spam has gotten so out of control. I'm up to 170 spam emails a week. Like, it's nuts. And like, when a real message gets caught in there, it's it's a full-time job to just go through it. It's very frustrating.
I hear you, sister. I mean, the scariest thing for me about this is you can buy someone's contact information for like $8. Like, you can go onto these websites. If you want to go to the dark side of the internet, it's not even that hard to find it. You just Google data broker. There's 50 of them, and they all have people's names, emails, addresses. And if you go to the dark web, you can connect them to passwords, and you can connect them to credit cards. You can connect them to home addresses. And I don't understand how I get where the dark web exists. There's always going to be a black market in the world, in the universe. But how are data brokers legal at all? Like, there are legal white market data brokers that exist that you can just go to their website, and it's not like the Pirate Bay.
Just buy it.
I don't know. But it does remind me of Europe's attempt to push forward not with the USB-C requirements for Apple and GDPR when it comes to cookies and privacy and other things of this nature. So a shout out to California for leading the way on that. Your home state. Thank you, ma'am.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, California's economy is bigger than most countries, so usually we see for some interesting legislation coming out of there. Got a very large and diverse population with a lot of different needs.
Yeah,
most of which are realtors.
Yeah, I hope that cascades over into the other states. Mississippi definitely won't be picking that one up until they absolutely have to. Moving on to the next.
I saw some statistic recently on Mississippi. What was it? I thought of you.
This has gotta be good.
No, it was not good. Unfortunately, it was. It was states with the highest credit card debt per person, and like for some reason Mississippi and Alabama were like in the red. Like, everyone's got credit card debt, everyone's poor. So I thought of you. Definitely could use some of your tax dollars fed back into that economy if you ever want to move home.
That's funny. It is very funny what you would consider home. As someone that moves, I have moved 6 or 7 times. I think about gentrification a lot, and I'm told to think about gentrification a lot. And people tell me to go home, and I don't know. They don't tell me, but they say you should go home, and I'm not moving back.
Gringos go home,
or like even Brooklyn,
that's what you mean?
Or Barcelona. Everywhere you go in the world, which we always talk about this on the podcast, is like, where is it cheaper in the world? If it can't be more expensive everywhere, right? Like, where is everybody? If everybody leaves New York to move to Mexico City, or leaves wherever to move wherever, Barcelona has all of the protests. Like, where is everybody leaving from where things are supposedly getting cheaper because there's lower demand, right? Is that
Venezuela for sure?
Right.
Anyway,
which we're not covering on this episode, but
I don't know.
God bless
it's
this
rapidly developing story.
Yeah, this is not the podcast you should be listening to for your Venezuela updates. Moving on, what you should be listening to us to discuss is tax cuts and financial planning items. We have a Wall Street Journal article here about the winners and losers from 2026's mix of tax and benefit cuts. AJ, what was your take on this story? We've got some SNAP cuts. We've got some tax cuts from the Big Beautiful Bill, which is embarrassingly the name of the first tax law coming from the second Trump administration.
Obama. How do you say it? Obama. Every time I see that, I'm like, Obama. This article and a lot of the, economic commentators I follow have been talking a lot about this thing called the K-shaped economy, which is funny because I feel like people always glom onto whatever the hot, someone says it, usually it's someone at Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal, and then it trickles down to the other columnists, and then it trickles down to the TikTokers, and then somehow it ends up in my inbox, and then we talk about it on the Liquidity Event. So the K-shaped economy basically just means that instead of different groups of people moving in correlation and moving together, you have the people who are doing very well doing better, right? So the rich people getting richer, and the people who are not doing so well, the poor people getting poorer. So if you think of a graph, you got one line going up and to the right and one line going down and to the right. So it looks like a K on a graph. On a line graph. So that's what this article is basically talking about. Is that the One Big Beautiful Bill, as almost every single Republican tax bill that has been passed during legislation benefits in the present and in the long term people who are already wealthy. So if you are a owner and not a worker, meaning you own stocks, you own your home, there's lots of great stuff in this bill. Lots of great incentives. We actually got an increase in the deductions for state and local income tax. So that's really going to help people like me who live in New York City. So that's going to be nice for me. I'm definitely in the top of the K, right? Whereas most of the people in this country who are seeing, their lives getting much more expensive because of tariffs and inflation and many other, and stagnant wages and a million other factors, they don't really benefit from tax cuts because they don't make enough income for their taxes to be high enough. So a tax cut doesn't really help them. What helps them are programs like SNAP, which is food stamps, or Medicare, which keeps, insurance. I don't even want to say it. I don't want to say affordable. I just want to say from protecting them from medical bankruptcy, and things like Social Security. So, the winners and losers. The winners are the rich, and the losers are the poor. What else is new?
There's a
anyway.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Jesus Christ. There's a scene in Old School where Will Ferrell has to debate James Carville, the Raging Cajun, and he just snaps into a blackout, and he does this perfect monologue about corporate development and balancing that with tax laws. And James Carville just goes, "That was incredible. I have no notes." And that is how I'm responding to that take on the winners and losers of 2026's tax and benefits cuts. Exceptionally well said. Yeah, I don't think it surprises anyone that tariffs are not going to help out people with little disposable income. The only thing I'll mention is that since I live in Mexico, there is a worldwide pushback against China's dominance in in manufacturing, and even Mexico has enacted tariffs against China. Now that could come from pressure from the United States so that we don't drop in and abduct Claudia Sheinbaum like we did with Nicolas Maduro. But it's also India and other places that are farther outside of our sphere of influence.
Don't touch my Jewish Mexican princess.
You should love her. She's doing an incredible job.
I do love her.
Okay.
A woman with brains and beauty who's powerful.
She's got a PhD. Angela Merkel.
All she needs is a dragon, and I'm on board.
There it is.
I bet she has a dragon. Or no, Mexico would be an eagle. Right.
It would be Quetzalcoatl.
Eagle and
Eagle
and a snake.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have a really crazy tangent for you. Apologies, listener.
Go.
On the flight home from I don't even remember where last night or 2 nights ago. It was too late to do work or read, and so I pulled up the television, hated all the movies. I ended up watching Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations from 2008 on Mexico City, and it was awesome. Nice. The coolest thing, they go to Xochimilco, which is for those of you who don't know, it's the canals about 45 minutes from the center of the city. And right now if you go to Xochimilco, it's really fun. There's really colorful boats and beautiful stuff. And you can mariachi bands float by selling you beers. And there's lots of great food. But in 2008, it's basically just about this old scary dude who collects all these plastic dolls and has this island of these headless deformed baby dolls. It was really fucked up. So anyway, Mexico City, gentrification gets rid of all the old creepy dolls was my takeaway from the Anthony Bourdain episode.
Right on.
Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
That island is still there. I don't know if that dude is still there. And whenever I've been to Xochitl a bunch of times, and I never see it, so I don't think it's as big of a. I agree. I don't think it's as big of a focal point. I know this is tough to ask questions or put you on the spot on the pod, but do you know who was his guide? Because he always has a cool guide. That's one of they find the coolest person.
It was the head chef of Les Halles, which is Bourdain's restaurant in New York, who is from Puebla, so he went down with him. So it was him and this other guy. I forget his name.
Very sick. Well, speaking of coming from New York, we have a article here on Manhattan's real estate market in 2025 and how all cash offers for completed deals jumped 10% from 50 to 60% in Mom Donnie's New York. AJ, what is your take on the wealth gap and its impact on all cash offers in New York City?
Oh my God, sorry. That was just the peasants throwing tomatoes at me because it's Zoran's New York. No, Zoran has been our mayor for about a week now, and all of the threats by the billionaires to leave because they were going to get taxed 2% more have not come to fruition. And in fact, this article is saying they're staying. There has not been a massive everyone's listing their penthouses for sale on the first of the year. That did not happen. More people are buying property in New York for all cash, which means that, like we said earlier, if you are an owner of things, you own businesses, or you own parts of companies that are publicly traded, you had a great year last year. In fact, you had a great, other than 2022, you've had double-digit growth in the stock market. So if you invested, 4 or 5 years ago, your money is doing quite well, and you probably have enough cash to buy a $3 million or $6 million New York City penthouse. So you're doing great. You don't have to mess with things like the banks and get a mortgage. You don't need to borrow money to buy your penthouse. You invested it. So you can just recognize little capital gains. You'll pay a little bit more because you live in New York, but you could turn that right around and beat out a nice middle-class family who's saved up 20% of that down payment. Anyway, how are you doing today?
A spicy start to 2026.
It's the Sudafed, folks. But I mean, that's what the article is about.
That's fair. I think
more people have more cash, and look, interest rates are high. Whatever that big asterisk on the high. Incidentally, I'm actually in the process of refinancing my mortgage right now, which I think we should save for another time because I do have some lessons learned. But yeah, if you do not need to get a mortgage and you have the cash, whether you have the cash outright or you can do this amazing thing called an SBLOC, which is a securities-based line of credit where you can just borrow against your portfolio without selling anything. So if you had a fantastic IPO or you sold your business and you got $10 million in your brokerage account, you just borrow against it. You get that cash. You could have that cash on Tuesday. You could actually go to the seller. Hey, can I have a 10% discount on this property? I can get you the cash Tuesday. Like, if you're in a rush to sell or there's a divorce happening or something where people want to move that asset quickly, it's a buyer's market, baby.
Cash is king, 100%. The only thing other thing I want to mention here is that the real estate agent had to mention, it was like that Mom Donnie discount that we were expecting didn't come to fruition. I guess that was based on so many people leaving New York that there was more sellers than buyers.
That's what they were expecting, that everyone was like going to leave and immediately list their house for sale because they didn't want to, they couldn't live in Mom Donnie's socialist New York, but that did not happen, unfortunately.
We're
still here.
I saw an awesome reel on Instagram where this plastic surgeon's wife pops onto a bus and she says, "Welcome to the New York City bus, where Mom Donnie has raised your fares, not made them free, and because they went up by a quarter, which was enacted in the prior administration." And she's like trying
in sense, right? Yeah.
It's like, okay, he's been in office for 4 days. Meanwhile, he fixed that super dangerous bike lip at the Williamsburg Bridge. Did you see that? It's like,
I did not.
You no longer have to have your life flash before your eyes every time you cross the Williamsburg Bridge on a city bike.
Dude, I respect the bike hustle. I respect the cyclist. I now personally know 3 people who have been in, multi-surgery, brain damage, injury issues with bike accidents that, like, I have officially retired from biking in New York City. Like, it is really dangerous. People are really scary drivers. It's a huge shame because it's a beautiful city and it's really fun to bike around, but like, I can't do it anymore. I don't want to die. Our healthcare system is falling apart, so if you do get hit.
Yeah, I couldn't handle an AJ ghost bike in New York. That would be tough.
Geez.
Yeah. I prefer you die a different way. And you can put a ghost bike up for me outside the Soho House, the Ludlow House. All right, next item on our list here: annuities. AJ.
Oh, annuities Nice.
Thank you. And should it be easier to buy annuities in retirement plans? Readers had doubts. This is an article in response to a professor at the Wharton School. Here we go. A professor to the Wharton School. He's just warming up. And they said this professor at the Wharton School, which surely has no connections with the multi-trillion-dollar financial industry, that said that this professor said that we should have annuities as a default option for where your investments go within your 401k. And so this article was written because so many people wrote in, just day-to-day people, Wall Street Journal article readers, wrote in so much that they had to do a follow-up article to assuage their fears. And I got to be honest, AJ, I did like the professor's responses, but it felt like a very, very smart person convincing you to buy some oil that you would wring out of a snake into a bottle. What was your take on this article?
Yeah, similar take. I think annuities are one of those things where they can be good if you find the right provider that's not going to overcharge you. But unfortunately, by design, they are products that are meant to be sold. So the entire business of purchasing an annuity, it's like buying a used car. Like truly, like it makes sense. Like, hey, I drove a car for 5 years. I don't want it anymore. Shane, can I sell you my car? Yeah, here's the price. No problem. Great. We exchange, you get the deed. That should be fairly straightforward, right? But instead, we have this whole industry of buying and selling used cars where we've layered fees on top of fees, and you have to go to a used car lot, and you have to pay for this title insurance and that nonsense. And annuities are kind of similar. Like, they're pretty straightforward products, right? I have a lump sum of money. I don't want to run out of money. I know that I want, let's say, I'm not going to use numbers, but I want a guaranteed $1,000 a month. That's going to pay my mortgage or my Medicare. That's what I want. I'm in exchange for taking risk off the table. I'm going to give you my money and you get to go invest it or do whatever you want. And I get my guaranteed payment until I die. And if I die tomorrow, oops, that was probably not the best investment, but I might live to be 105 and then I win. So in theory, annuities are a good product. They are very good for retirees who don't want to deal with the stress of managing their money or deal with the stress of the ups and downs of the stock market. Unfortunately, annuities in their pure sense are very rare. And it takes a PhD to unpack the Vanguard website to actually find you one. I mean, it's interesting. We have clients come to us all the time with annuities that are a fucking mess. And we spend hours figuring out which product we can exchange them for to save these poor people thousands of dollars. I hate it.
You're saying you would need a
I'm going into a
PhD's
I'm going
gas.
into a K-shaped hole. You need a doctorate of dumbasses. I don't know.
A K-shaped hole. Is that a reference to another? I know that the K is from the Winners and Losers, the zero-sum reference that you made earlier, but is there a heart?
Oh, the K-shaped hole was in reference into a K-hole and a heart-shaped hole.
A heart-shaped hole. Yes, I got the K-hole, and that was a triple entendre there. That was very...
It was a triple entendre.
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
Very well done. Sorry, hard to follow you sometimes. That was
anyway,
the full complexity.
Yes, the full complexity of annuities are too... It's just one of those products where it's like, let's not even start the conversation because most of the time it doesn't work. Most of the time the annuity salesperson, the annuities company wins. I get what this smart person was arguing for. Like, hey, a 401k can be pretty wild. It's like the people who are arguing for, allowing cryptocurrency as part of 401k investments by major institutions. Like, let's just keep things simple.
Yeah.
We don't need to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I mean, she tries to make that argument that we should just have single purchase immediate annuities or pretty straightforward deferred annuities, and we can skip the...
Isn't that what Social Security is?
And then there is a question about Social Security, and then she does the thing where she says it might not exist in 20, 25 years, which is a whole different podcast and is very frustrating. But yeah, I don't think that annuities, when we already have Social Security. I mean, whenever I hear about annuities, it does remind me of that Kitces article where there was some evidence. It was where he mentions that people do better when they have a mixture of market assets or equities and annuities. I don't know if Social Security is that annuity that would help us be more successful. It would be nice to know that you have the upside of the markets in addition to, like, you'll never actually, like, even if you get dementia and you empty out your account or you get scammed, they can't take your annuity. But alas.
I mean, look, I think consumers are getting smarter, which is good. I think consumers are educating themselves a lot more, mostly because if you're a child of someone from the greatest generation or a boomer, you've probably watched someone you know of that generation get scammed, right? You've probably watched someone's money disappear through no fault of their own, right? So we're getting more educated, we're getting smarter, and, like, you know, advertisement for fee-only financial planning, like, that's what we do here, is we look at all the options. We do not feel that there is one perfect way to do something. Yes, we believe in the long-term wealth-generating power of the US stock market, but that is just one part of your financial plan. You also have to make sure that you have some insurance to make sure that your risk is covered. You can have the greatest stock market portfolio in the world, and a fire could wipe out your house. And if you don't have the right fire insurance, like, there goes your net worth. So, like, financial planning is about looking at all the options and having a combination of all of them. So, like, I do think there is a place for annuities in a lot of people's portfolios. I think our industry has, like, had such an extreme reaction and backlash to them because of the bad actors, but, like, I think it actually makes sense for people who are nervous and don't want to invest in the stock market. It's a good idea. You have to understand someone's risk profile and you have to understand where they're coming from. So, like, I'm going to get quoted on this and it's going to go on LinkedIn and be like, AJ Ayers, Brooklyn on Fire, loves annuities. Like, I do think there's a space for them. The end.
Let's go. She knows that he's a guys if you want to hit her up.
Guys is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that would be a perfect...
Wait, we talk about...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say
we get to talk about Chernobyl.
I know.
I mean, nuclear reactors.
Yes, I think we can say that for next week. We're running a little long because I like to talk about our personal lives too much at the opening of the podcast. But I think the readers appreciate it, listeners appreciate it. Well, we do have, it would have been a perfect segue into our Reddit question about being a windfall and people saying they should fire their financial advisor. And AJ just made a terrific case for why they should not file a financial advisor, but we'll save that for next week. And we're also going to talk about nuclear energy. Apparently, the Trump administration is pro-nuclear, which I did not see that coming. But it looks to be a revival of sorts, as am I. There's like some cool stuff about the new types of technology that are a lot smaller and less expensive. So we'll cover that next week. But AJ, do you want to read us out this week?
Sure thing. Thank you so much for listening. Email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynify.com. And finally, Stans can leave us a review if they want to be weird about it. I do have some homework for you all. If you have not seen the HBO show Chernobyl, you need to watch it right now. It is a fantastic piece of television, and we will cover that in depth next week, along with Kairos and some really interesting innovations in the space. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.